everyone, it's Captain Kyle and I have a special treat for you today. I have the Destroy Monarch G1 knockoff of Megatron. I will destroy all fleshlings. Obviously it's not a G1 Megatron, but it's the same mold. It's a knockoff that was sold some time back. Doesn't have a date on it, but it's been a while. And it's so exciting that Sky is here to help. I'm gonna open this very carefully, go through it and see how close it is to the original G1 Megatron, or the Japanese version. Be right back. All right, so I know a lot of people who want a G1 Megatron. In fact, they wish that these Chinese companies that make all the counterfeits would make a G1 Megatron counterfeit that's of good quality. And that would be really nice. But I was lucky enough, a friend of mine won this at an auction, gave it to me at cost, basically so I could review it for you guys. And because I don't have a G1 Megatron anymore. But looking at the package before you open it up, you can see Megatron, well, the Destroy Monarch. I guess later on he becomes Destroy Emperor, but he's got the original gun and the sword that was included in the Japanese one. He's got the silencer, the scope, he's got the stock and the stock pieces. He's even got bullets on the side because supposedly, and we'll find out, this can shoot just like the Megatron reissues that we got back in, the early 2000s. So I'm gonna open this very carefully. It's already kind of coming apart, but in case I want to put it back together and display it, I'm gonna be a little more careful in opening this up than I normally would be with most of the toys that I get. Opening it up carefully and sliding out the contents. So one thing I've noticed just looking at the package, he doesn't seem to come with stickers. I mean, I know some sticker places are out there. My friend at Patriot Prime Reviews is always talking about those sticker places. So if I really want to get stickers and make them up to look like the original, I can. But of course, he's got a black face, which don't you know that is a total no-no nowadays? But he's got a black face and a red, headband. Almost looks like Prowls. And he's got an orange tip. So I'm going to carefully remove the pieces. There is the end of the stock. Another piece of the stock. Another piece of the stock. On the sprues, we have bullets. Looks like 20 of them. Now, if you're not familiar, the Japanese versions and the Japanese reissue versions, you could actually load a bullet inside, pull the trigger, and the bullet would fly out. You could only put in one bullet at a time, but still. We've got the gun that no one really ever uses. We've got the sword, which has a piece of tape over it, and that was included with the Japanese reissue and presumably the original Japanese one. The original Japanese one had blue plastic on the inside, not red, so they didn't get red plastic until the reissues. And put together is the scope and the silencer, which the silencer actually comes apart into two pieces there. And of course, the piece de resistance, Megatron, though he's kind of flopping a little bit. See if we can put him into his normal configuration. Now the way he's transformed in the box, he's a little wide-legged. You're supposed to push them forward, and this leg was not all the way out, and the feet were not fully extended. The chest piece goes up, and that piece goes under there. You extend the arms. It's feeling a little loose, and I've heard that about this particular knockoff. But let's put these pieces aside, and for your consideration, we have the Destruction Monarch, known as Almost Megatron. We're gonna put him on the Turntable of Doom. Now I'm already noticing there is some looseness, and I might be able to tighten up these joints, but there is some looseness with the legs. So when you put him down, he kind of leans back. No, that's bad. Let's call it a Negan lean. That's a little more acceptable than Fat Albert. But you can see he looks pretty much like Megatron from every direction. Now, one thing that may or may not help with the lean, but one thing I used to do with my G1 Megatron, and then the G1 reissue Megatron, is I used to make him a little more show accurate. If I can do it with this one, I think I can. Instead of having the barrel pointing forward, I would actually push it up. It's not helping with the leaning at all, but at least it looks a little bit better. Now, what's interesting to me is it has the orange tip, but if you put on the silencer, no one's gonna see that. So, not very helpful if you're using the silencer and don't want to get accidentally shot by, the police. Now, of course, the fusion cannon, aka scope, slides onto his arm. Let's put that on there for him. And there he is. He's looking more Megatronish all the time. Now I can take the sword and put it in his hands, presumably. I did not push the fists out all the way. Those feel a little loose moving back and forth, but putting in the sword, that will keep it definitely from going out. Of course, it fell off. Maybe I was a little too tentative pushing it in. Put a little more pressure on there. Now, I believe these went for about $10 when they first came out. Now, usually it's at least $100, if not quite a bit more. I've seen them listed for ridiculous prices on eBay. So there he is. He does not have the Decepticon symbol on his chest. He doesn't have a little squiggly line that is on the sticker. No stickers at all, except they apparently put some on the inside of the legs. But still, despite the lean, and again, he could be Negan, gotta get him a baseball bat. Yeah, he's standing pretty good. Now, as far as posability is concerned, well, this original Megatron, you could move the legs a little bit. No ankle swivels, of course. You could move the arm pretty much carefully all the way around, both arms. No turning of the head. And that is pretty much it. Now, you could do stuff like take the shoulder stock and attach that. Now, let's see, we've got the nice little thing. It feels a little loose in here. I'm trying to see if I can fit it in. Yep, can fit that in. You put this part of the stock, you take out the handles. It's got little handles on the side here. Again, if you're familiar with G1 Megatron, none of this is really a huge surprise to you. I pulled them out. I'm a little concerned about pushing them all the way. They kind of stop like that, and to get them to fully snap probably takes a bit of pressure. I'm a little worried about putting on that pressure, so I'm just gonna leave them to that extent. But this goes in here. Let's see if that fits. It does. Now this piece goes under here, I guess more for storage than anything else. And then Megatron has a huge cannon that he can actually fire. I mean, it looks a little dirty the way it's angled and where it's coming from, but yeah, he's got a big black cannon. Now what's interesting is all the instructions, there's no instruction book, are actually on the back of the package. And it does actually show this pointed this way, so the spread out feet are in the back, which makes sense. Yeah, so far, he is Megatron. So we're gonna put that aside. This silver gun can go into his hand, I presume. It came with the US one as well, but I don't think we ever really used it. But you can if you really want to. So he's got a sword, a gun, and a fusion cannon. No ball and chain. That's something that came much later. Now, there are complaints that the joints are loose, and yeah, I have to say the joints are not the tightest. I've definitely felt tighter joints. I mean, to point it forward and keep it forward, you kind of got to lean it against stuff, and it actually is helpful that I have the barrel, not the instruction way, but my way by pushing it up the back. And of course, it flops out to the side. Again, you can see the red plastic, which was on the original US G1, but I don't think it was until maybe Goodbye Megatron, which was released around the time of the movie, like shortly after, because, you know, he was kind of dead, that they actually did something with the red. Now, I just took out the hand popped out. So, feeling it's a little loose here. There's little screws. I might tighten them up later. I almost dropped the hand, but I can pop it back in easily enough, thankfully. And the chest pushes up a little bit, and the little bar in the back is supposed to go underneath it, and that kind of helps with the stability, but again, joints are a little loose. But a little closer look at his face. Overall, this is not like getting a brand new Megatron. This is like getting one that's been played with a bit, and so it's loose, but again, I've seen worse. So I'm gonna swing back his barrel into the classic position, the one that the instructions say to use, just to give you a view of that and how that looks. And we'll do a nice little spin on the turntable of doom. And despite the lean, he's still standing fine. You can even spread out the legs a little bit, which makes him a little less like he's about to do some ballet. But yeah, this badass, politically incorrect, black-faced motherfucker is so far pretty good. I mean, again, not transform right out of the box, but he's still good. Now I'm gonna transform him, which requires me flipping back this, pushing his arms together. And I'm doing this carefully, you might notice, because it is a knockoff. And knockoffs have a tendency to not be as quality as original Transformers. And this one's definitely loose. I'm bringing back up the barrel, moving it forward, pushing that down, and flipping it forward like so. But I am being careful because, yeah, I don't want to break it. That would really suck. Now the arms come up and come together. Again, I'm being gingerly careful with it as I pop that piece into place. And so we have the back part of the gun. The head comes up and plugs in there, and the legs come back. You push in the feet. Though if you want him to stand in gun mode, you don't have to. You could actually just leave the feet out. Let me do that for a minute just to kind of show you how you could pose him in gun mode. But the gun mode seems relatively solid. And by keeping the feet out, I can actually show it very nicely from all angles. Very nice. Again, no stickers, and that actually makes it more dangerous to carry, so be careful if you get one of these, which they're hard to find, kind of rare, and they're expensive. But if you do get one, or even if you have a regular Megatron, just be careful. Don't get shot for having a toy. All right, I'm pushing the feet back, and I'm gonna hold it like a gun. Hopefully YouTube will not have a problem. Pulling the trigger, it makes a noise. That's good. Now before I put on the accoutrement, and even with the feet in, you can still kind of balance it. I'm gonna remove one bullet, which is plastic, YouTube, don't freak out. Put it into the slot, and it fired. I got it in the right position. You gotta push it in, get it into the right spot. You gotta make sure it's straight in there. That might have been a fluke. I feel like I'm using an old musket, getting the bullet into position. Yeah, it's definitely not as foolproof as an official version. See if that works. Maybe it needs to go back a little further. I've never examined the mechanism. I actually do have one of the eHobby Megatrons that's in brown. It's kind of a megaplex. And it does have firing bullets. So the mechanism for firing, not thrilling me, because it did it once. Why isn't it doing it again? Oh well. It would have been nice if it worked more than once. But I can push it through and retrieve it. So not all the mechanisms are gonna work all that well, I'm guessing. But still, he looks very good in gun mode. Let's see if all the accoutrements attach properly. So we have the scope. That looks good. Let's put this in its proper configuration. So I want to stress, YouTube, this is a fake gun, but this video is still not meant for children under the age of 13. Silencer, all the way on. And again, that automatically hides that orange tip. So, I mean, someone might look at that and be familiar with guns and be like, that's not a real silencer. Or be familiar with Megatron and be like, that's a Megatron. But again, I would not threaten people. Just never pull a gun on anyone unless it's real and you have a very good reason. Like you're a police officer and someone's waving a Megatron at you. So there it is. We'll do the slow pan in the close-up cam, because it's a long gun. So if I zoom out a bit, you can see it on the close-up cam a little bit better. But yeah, you can stare through the scope. It's not loaded, but yeah, it looks like a very good Megatron. Now, I can balance it a little bit, nope. But that is the Destruction Monarch DX Super Alloy Transformers, it actually says Transformers, Super Change Series. Pistol change into robot. Pistol to shape. We're not sure what the shape is, but it's gonna become a shape. So we've got the weapons, we've got the bullets, which I'm probably not gonna take this apart to see if I can fix the mechanism. I just now have extra ammo for my eHobby one. But a very cool replica of the Walther P38. This is a replica of the James Bond edition from Microman, I believe. It's a very cool knockoff. Definitely holds up better in gun mode. But the robot mode is there. It works. He leans back a little bit. He's like, I'm gonna bash your head in with Lucille. He doesn't talk like that. At this range, I never miss. And then he proceeds to miss. So, you know, that dang Cybertronium. Run out of that and you're not doing too well. Yeah, very cool. I will put a link in the description to eBay, which is the only place that you can get these. And there are some ridiculously priced ones that I've seen on there. There's some that are much better priced, but still, I mean, you could pay anywhere from a couple hundred to somebody's asking like $3 grand for a sealed one of these. I mean, I think that's a little bit too much. But if you can get one, or if you find somebody who's selling one who's not aware that it's a very rare knockoff and you can get it at a reasonable price, because again, if they bought it brand new, it was like $10. Seeing if I can put the scope on from the rear, which doesn't seem to want to work. So gotta put it on from the front. It might slip on from the rear, but I'm not sure about the original. It's been a while since I've had, see, I had an original one. Well, with robot points, I bought it through the mail away stuff because I didn't have a Megatron for years. That's why Starscream was the leader. That's why Starscream, I like him so much. As I'm holding it, there's a little bit of a gap that shows up here, but if you're holding it like a pistol, it's still good. Again, joints are a little bit loose, but yeah, that one got sold. I got another one later on eBay. That one, I don't know what I did with it because I got a Japanese reissue one, which was very cool. So I used that one, and then that went in the Great Purge. But now I have a G1 Megatron, mostly. Some differences, not brand new, but still a very cool replica of Megatron. So there you have it. And I think the guy's a lot of fun. And speaking of fun, I hope you're having fun too watching these videos. As much fun as I have making them for you. And as I mentioned, I will put a link in the description. And while you are checking out and mulling over how much you want to spend on Destroy Monarch, we have a video over here for the Destroy Emperor. He got a promotion, but he retreats all the time. I will also put a link to this retreat shirt. It's a very cool shirt. We will see you next time. As always, have fun and good hunting. Just not with this.